Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special on this New Year's Eve. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
Oh, another jam-packed show before the new year. Our final show of 2025, and we'll have our boys Rob Chavez and Kenny Calvin from, you've heard them from the voices of the Bakersfield Renegades. Not only are they BC play-by-play guys, but they do a lot in the community. They'll join us. We'll recap 2025 at 7:30 when they come in. Plus, we got Bolt and Holt, which is a way better morning show name than the Early Bird Special.
Yeah, well.
But Bolt Brady will join us at 8 o'clock, make you some money to wrap up the year. And Ryan Holt will give us an update on all things Condors for Condors Town. You can call or text in anytime at 661-842-2000.
1,000%. We'd love to hear from you on this New Year's Eve before we take our break. We will be dark tomorrow. Yes, Stranger Things tonight. Very, very excited. Very excited. Well, let's be honest, though. Knowing Netflix, it probably won't drop until midnight, which means you won't be able to watch it till tomorrow. But I mean,
they better not.
That's what they did to us with the last one. The last one didn't drop until what, 6 o'clock?
I had to wait a day, so I didn't
It's
check.
like I really have no idea what time it actually dropped, but it wasn't there in the morning like they promised. I was very upset when I
know
woke up
Netflix
Christmas
last
Day.
night said 5 p.m. So
That's probably 5 p.m. But then again, what if there's what time did the movies start?
5:30.
Okay, so all the movies start at 5:30 as well.
I don't know if all of them, but the one I'm going to is 5:30.
Okay, well, I mean, again, because that's what I'm thinking in my head is like if people are going to the theaters to see this,
yeah, they've got.
It has to be on streaming, right? It's got to be there already. But
then Jenny, if you're listening, I still want that Thunderbolts box of cereal. They've got the big prop box cereal.
Oh, the Wheaties?
Yes.
Yes, you
that
need
says
that.
Thunderbolts, and
That's
told
fantastic.
them, hey, if you're just going to stack it in the back and let it collect dust, I got a truck you can throw it in.
You better. Hopefully, there's not a teenager that looked at that and said the same thing you did, though, and walked away with it.
She
after
said, I'll let
shift.
you know. I'll let you know.
Yeah. No, that is fantastic. If you can get your hands on that, that'd be really cool. But yes, Stranger Things tonight. We finally get to see the ending to all of this incredible 10-year journey that we've all been on and watching these kids grow up.
It's going to break my heart, man.
It is.
It's one of the best shows I've ever seen in 40 years. And I will just say, after this, what?
That's exactly what I've been saying to everybody around here. What do we watch now?
This damn
kid. What yeah.
These damn kids.
Was he cracking open a beer behind you?
Tossing in his tribulations this morning.
Well, again, it's New Year's Eve.
I told him it's live radio, baby. You never know what you're going to walk into every morning. That's the best thing.
That's the whole point.
He's over here breaking crap.
Oh, good God. We already woke up to some issues in the morning on their sister station, and now
it happens.
There's always something going on. There's always something going on the radio.
But I do have some positive news. Our new studio is very, 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 very close.
Fantastic.
To being complete. As soon as this table gets cut, we're going in Friday morning to put the final touches in, and I'm fingers crossed we can get the green light. Now, I think we're about a week away.
Pulling the curtain back a little bit here. Y'all don't realize this, but that man right there that just spoke is the hardest working man in radio. Not only does he help me do this show and wake up about 2 hours earlier than anybody should in their entire lifetime, but he also produces the Money Wise show and pretty much handles all of their media side of everything. I mean, social media, the radio side of it, all of that is all funneled through Mr. Sparky here. So he's been hard at work trying to figure that out.
The Woolworths building is open. The lunch counter is open. You can go down there 11 to 8 o'clock, I believe. Reverb Coffee, if you're a big coffee person.
Are they going to be open tomorrow? On New Year's Day?
I don't think so.
Dang it. I was going to say, I have the day off. I can go down there.
They will be open Friday. Anytime you want to go down there, man, let me know. If you want to go down there on Saturday, I'll show you the studio and we can get a burger.
I'm equally as busy, just on different fronts.
Exactly.
That's the issue with all of this.
And you talk about busiest guy, man. This guy is not only doing a show and bringing all this sports talk to you, but he's also producing, 14 different shows, and you hear his voice on every damn commercial break. This guy is no slack. But I will say, the basement, that is what it's called, the basement
Is
at
that what we're calling
Woolworths.
it?
It is going to have our podcast studio as
Is
well as
that?
a recording
I was
studio.
gonna say, is that where the music venue is going to be as well?
Exactly.
When you get that built up here.
Oh, it's ready.
Oh, it's ready to go now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So we're working on just all the permits because they'll be serving alcohol
Do
down in the
we
basement.
know who's going to be the first band down there?
I will
and if it's
say
Mento Buru, please just
no.
we'll pass.
Mento Buru did our grand opening a couple months ago,
I had a
or a
feeling.
month ago.
I had a
So we
feeling.
didn't want to double up on the same artists. But I will say the soft opening, no date scheduled quite yet, but it'll be mid-January once the permits and everything has been approved. We'll do a soft opening just to kind of test out the sound, test out all of that, and that will be Gym Ranger. And the official first show of where it's open to the public, where you can buy tickets and have drinks and all of that, that will be his younger brother, John Ranger, and 3 other bands that will be playing, which I don't want to release quite yet because it's not official. But I will say John Ranger is going to be the headline of the first opening show, which I went to elementary and junior high with. So
I've heard John's a good.
we go way back. And if you're a fan of any music in town, I'm sure you've heard of John or Jim Ranger. So,
well, everybody who's watched The Voice knows who Jim Ranger is at this point, and he's had plenty of shows here locally since then. So
very talented guys. But the plan of the basement is to not only bring, we'll team up with the Well for some comedy shows here and there, but it's going to be a place where not only can you do business events, you can do pretty much anything down in that basement, and it fits about 420 people sitting and about 500 standing. But the sound is, the quality is just beautiful. A big shout out to Pac West and everybody, that Augie and everyone that's helped us build this studio in the basement. But there is no bad seats in that place. There's 3 VIP leather areas where you can just put your feet up, and the long bar. So wherever you're standing, you can see the stage. The stage is massive. So I'm pumped, and you'll start to see the different backgrounds in our videos now. So I'm hoping I'll get the green light on Monday, and hopefully the following Monday we'll be live in the basement.
And now we'll try to figure out a way to put up some stuff on the walls and actually make it look a little personal in most of these spaces. I love what we have here, but to be honest with you,
I will say the walls are teal.
Yeah.
They got our walls teal. So I was like, dude, just put an orange stripe. I'll be in heaven. I'll be in heaven. It's dolphin colors, baby.
Oh, gross. But it
gross,
is what it
yes.
is. Well, I mean,
but speaking of gross, let's
yes.
just get out this nasty crap out the way, because as soon as we went off the air yesterday, had some drama in the Stephon Diggs camp, and I mean, he's had a busy year. I remember the videos that was released on the yacht, and now this one, it sounds, and like I said, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but his former personal chef, came out and saying that, well, they were fighting over pay, and that he had allegedly strangled her
with his elbow of some nature, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how this went down, but I'm assuming this is an altercation that went way too far. Now, again, this is all alleged. We have no idea what actually went down. And Diggs's lawyer has already come out saying that this is just a dispute between somebody who is employed, somebody who is the employee, and the employer. Dispute over financial. One says she got paid. Stephon says you got paid. She says, no, I did not. And that's where all of this really took place. This is just the dumbest thing in the world, though. I hate when athletes and stuff like this happens. But it doesn't help Stephon's entire situation that you're right. At the beginning of the season, he kind of made an arse of himself and has been really making an arse of himself for a while now. He hasn't really been squeaky clean. So I agree with you. It's innocent until proven guilty. But if this is true and this all goes down, he could be facing some serious charges. These are very, very, very serious assault charges that could see time or some serious financial troubles for Mr. Diggs, to be completely honest with you. But it was just a really, really bad day for the Diggs family in general, because while we heard about this story, the Dallas Cowboys finally pulled the trigger on his brother Trayvon and decided to kick him off the team as well. Not for the strangulation and assault charges, mind you. Apparently, the Dallas Cowboys and Diggs have been dealing with a lot of inner trouble between the two camps. I'm not sure why. The man was paid a 5-year, almost $100 million contract. And honestly, in my opinion, you guys have heard me say it on this show, vastly overrated at his position. Incredibly overrated. He had one good year. And in my opinion, as I've said on this show, has a lot to do with the fact that Micah Parsons was getting after the quarterback that season better than he ever did. So, meh. But the Diggs family in general is seeing some really, really rough times to end the 2025 year. I doubt we will see Stephon play in this upcoming bouts in the playoffs.
Which really, I think, is going to hurt New England.
Yes.
I know we got a promo running that we thought New England would be running the AFC. What do you think that really hurts their chances with their number one receiver out?
I said it yesterday. I called for, does anybody know who Drake May is throwing the ball to?
Mac Hollins.
At this point, Hunter Henry. And the one name that could pop up, that's Barkey said right off the top of his head, Stephon Diggs. Okay, that's it. That's all he's throwing to. So, yeah, this is going to be a huge hit for the offense of the Patriots. Luckily for you.
I love Mac Hollins.
I do too.
But he's not a wide receiver one.
No, but you do have probably one of the best offensive coordinators in football.
Yeah.
And McDaniels. And if there's anybody that I trust to figure out a way to make the offense work without Diggs on the field, which they have done throughout periods of this season, it's him. It's him sitting down with Drake May saying, look, bud, we're going to need you to reach a different level. And he's already reached an MVP level, in my opinion. What you're going to need Drake May to be perfect, almost. But it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Stephon Diggs was Jamar Chase, but he is essentially the main target of that, and threat rather, on that defense or on that offense of the Patriots for any defense to have to deal with. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a big deal.
I think with the double head running back, I mean, with Henderson and I think the backfield can step up. I know Henderson's dealing with some injuries.
Stevenson's still a really good running back.
Stevenson steps in when he needs to, as long as he doesn't get into the turnover fumbling issues that he's had in the past. I still think, I don't think there's going to be much of a change, but it looks like they'll probably end up playing Buffalo in the first round of the playoffs. And somehow, like if Denver loses and New England wins this week against Miami, I think they can still get the bye. And I think that's what they would need, because I think if they end up lining up against Buffalo without their number one receiver, that's going to be a much tighter game, which I still think they will favor, which we'll talk to with Bolt. But I mean, if they end up lining up with a different type of team, which would be Baltimore or whatever, or if they line up with somebody in the second round aside from Buffalo, they might be in trouble, man.
It's entirely possible. But again, I believe Vrabel's going to have the defense humming, that's going to help you at least get to the AFC Championship game. The real thing that's going to get you over the hump, though, is what you could figure out on offense now without Diggs. And on the opposite side of that coin, if they do play the Buffalo Bills, the Bills are now one of the teams that are rumored to be at least cycling the wagons around Trayvon Diggs, who is going to be at least going through waivers at the moment and then potentially hitting free agency right before the playoffs. And teams like the Bills like the opportunity to pick up somebody who used to be one of the best corners, quote unquote, in the NFL. Never really thought that, but it is what it is.
Jalen Ramsey too.
Well, no, Jalen Ramsey was, though. Let's not be crazy. No. Jalen was at one point the best corner in football.
Maybe the first 4 years of his career.
Oh, absolutely, but at least that's 4 years. Trayvon has 1 year, and
he's a two-time Pro Bowler.
Meh. Yeah, again, the Pro Bowl, though, let's all be honest here, just like the All-Star game, popularity contest. It's a popularity contest. Who's got the bigger fan base? Dallas. If you put Trayvon Diggs on any other team, he would have one Pro Bowl. One. And that would be the year that he was great. That's if he would have had that same year with another team. And Jalen Ramsey would have gotten Pro Bowls many, many times over and does. And that's honestly
Ramsey's
because he's
toast.
just Jalen Ramsey. It just, I don't know. The Pro Bowl, in my opinion, has always been a popularity
I think
contest.
Ramsey's more because people know his name.
Right. No, but that's, again, that's more getting to my point, is that popularity contest, because people know who you are. Obviously, that is going to be the biggest indication if you're going to get voted on or off. It's just, you have to be well known. That's why I'm saying it's a popularity contest. And speaking of popularity contest, but in a different route, in the NFL, the finalists for the Hall of Fame were announced yesterday as well after the show. Willie Anderson, Drew Brees, Jahari Evans, Larry Fitzgerald, Frank Gore, Torrey Holt, Luke Kuechly, Eli Manning, Terrell Suggs, Adam Vinatieri, Reggie Wayne, Kevin Williams, Jason Witten, Darren Woodson, and Marshall Yanda, all named as finalists for the 2026 Hall of Fame voting. Anybody on that list that you think is going to get in?
Garbage.
All of them?
I don't like how they vote these Hall of Famers in.
Really?
I don't understand why Ricky Williams is not in there.
That's
I don't
fair.
understand it.
That's absolutely fair.
I get it if he's not a first-time Hall of Fame ballot, but this is going on his 5th or 6th round of it.
Mhm.
It's horse sugar. It's horse crap.
Again,
I get it. Adam Vinatieri, he's a gold. When it comes to
Vinatieri is a
kickers
Hall
all
of
the years,
Famer.
of course he's a Hall of Famer, but you're picking kickers.
Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, all of these names, I can't necessarily say any of them aren't Hall of Fame worthy. I do agree with you, though, that the fact that Ricky isn't in is ridiculous.
The same thing they did with Zach Thomas. It'll get there, hopefully. But I just don't like the way they do the voting.
Well, certain players like Torrey Holt are running out of time to get in there in the first place. So if he doesn't get in this year, I don't think he ever does.
I don't think he gets in.
You don't think so?
Nah.
Well, but again, greatest show on turf. Like, you think they give the majority of that to Kurt and everybody else?
And Falk, yeah.
Yeah.
And Isaac Bruce.
Yeah, but okay, like, when you talk about Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce, though, I don't hear many people talk about Isaac over Torrey.
I did.
Really?
I mean, he was there longer, and
I don't know, maybe just growing up, everybody that I talked to while growing up and people who had watched it have always brought up, oh yeah, Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce.
Yep.
It's never Isaac Bruce.
And I mean, it all ran through Marshall, so
true.
As long as Falk was there,
it really didn't matter who got the football at that time. But I don't know. I looking at this list, I mean, I'm surprised Marshall Yanda made it as a finalist, to be completely honest. And that's not because he isn't worthy of making it. That's more of, I didn't expect them to give that much respect to an offensive lineman, just with the way that a lot of these things go. But I mean, Willie Anderson obviously is up there too. But
I mean, every name you put on that list, they're all Hall of Fame worthy.
Right.
I get it. But it's just the ones that are running out of time. It's like, what are you waiting on?
True. And my other question with this as well is, and this is more of just a outside looking in kind of thing, but do you think that they put in too many people into the Hall of Fame? Do you think, because a lot of the gripes now, especially with like baseball and a lot of these others, is that they grab like a dozen, 24 people, and then they vote in a chunk of them, and now it's kind of getting saturated in a way. Like, it's not necessarily the best of the best anymore.
Yeah. I mean, what do they started out with 30 or something, and they cut it down to 18 or something. And how many, do you know how many actually get in each year?
It's
like 8 to 11 or something.
Yeah, it's a spread. I believe now for football, it's somewhere between 6 to 10, somewhere in that area. I know I've read it, but I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head.
I mean, yeah, I get it. It's just there's so many. I mean, there's 22 guys on the field at all times. It's insane to. I mean, the offensive linemen. I get it. Yanda was a beast in his time, but if you go down the list, there's guys that changed the game when they were playing and that aren't in, and I'm still probably just a little salty. I don't know.
Well, but that's kind of my thing, is that should the Hall of Fame be reserved for players that are the ones that changed the game rather than the ones that are really great? Like, again, no disrespect to anybody who's in the final names, but Terrell Suggs, great player, but Hall of Fame worthy. Eli Manning, great player, great quarterback, multiple time Super Bowl, but Hall of Fame. Like his brother, Peyton, 100% changed the game, was the best at his position for multiple years. But I could never honestly say that Eli Manning was the best quarterback ever when he was playing in the NFL. Like, and the same could be said about Frank Gore. The same could be same about Kevin Williams. I love these guys. I loved watching them play when I was younger. But are we kind of oversaturating the voting here because we're putting in guys that are great, great players, but not really Hall of Famers?
And you see, Eli doesn't get in if he doesn't beat the Patriots on that undefeated season.
No, 100%
but
not.
See, it's a mark of history.
Right.
And just goes right back to players that aren't getting in because they changed what they were doing. They changed the game in their years of football.
And they're right.
So, I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't know if it's the weeds still hanging over Ricky Williams. And he's talked about it. He doesn't care.
Even if it is the marijuana situation, that shouldn't hold you out of the Hall of Fame, or at least the Hall of Fame voting. Because, again, no disrespect to Frank Gore, but is anybody going to sit there and say Frank Gore was better than Ricky? Can't say that'd be the case. I love Frank Gore. And honestly, he had an incredible career that was longer than most running backs will even dream of having, especially as a starter for the 49ers. But come on. Are we really going to sit there and say that weed is the main reason keeping out Ricky Williams right now, who was one of the best running backs and had arguably created the craziest trade in draft history? I mean,
yeah, I don't get it.
I don't
and
get it.
And we'll
either.
get Kenny and Rob in here in a minute, and I'll ask them the same question. I mean, like, is it getting oversaturated? I mean, I've heard it from other people when it comes to Eli Manning. I personally think if it wasn't for him, which was a great season, and that probably one of my favorite times in football history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know any other time I could have slammed a dunk that time when I jumped up that high. But yeah, I mean, Eli changed the game in history, which I get it. But there's other players that are getting left out, and I know the Marshall Yandas, and
incredibly deserving.
Well, I mean, they were one of the best in their time when they were playing.
Yeah,
and that's what the Hall of Fame should be. I get it.
I think that, yeah, that's what that I think is what I'm trying to boil it down to. Is I think we need to, as much as it's rough to say, I think we need to tighten up the choices, or at least tighten up why we put these guys in the Hall of Fame. If you weren't the best at your position at the time of you playing, I can't necessarily say that you are worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, because I think that is what the Hall of Fame should really be showcasing, is who was the number one, number two, number three guys at their time. Drew Brees, first ballot Hall of Famer. Larry Fitzgerald, first ballot Hall of Famer. Luke Kuechly, I loved Luke Kuechly. And was he the best linebacker during his time? Yeah. So I guess that would be borderline. But even then, like, I don't think he played long enough. I really don't. Same with Terrell Suggs. Great outside linebacker, but was he ever the best? Not really. He was on some of the best teams because he had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed there helping him out. But I can't necessarily say that he is worthy. I really can't. So that's what I mean by oversaturating. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's more of, I just feel like some of these guys, although fantastic names, they're not going to make it. I mean, I love Frank Gore, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I really don't. So we'll see what happens here. I'd love to get our guy Rob Chavez and Kenny Calvin's thoughts about this as soon as they come in here momentarily. I do believe they are in the studio from what our guy Jay Reed just poked in and told Sparky. So we will take a break real quick. And on the other side, we will talk to our guys from BC football about 2025 and the BC football season. Plus, love to get their thoughts on football in general and what's going on in the college game, what their thoughts are, the college football playoff, and obviously, like we just talked about, the Hall of Fame finalists. See if there's anybody on this list in their opinion that deserves to get in right away. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back and Happy New Year. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGDO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We are also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, where you can join us and see our next two guests live in studio, Mr. Kenny Calvin, Mr. Rob Chavez. Rob coming in the 2026. There ain't no way you can see out of those. Yeah. Can you really? I mean, can you see the microphone? Because you're a little bit away from it. Yeah,
I'm doing it, John Cena.
Gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us. It's good to see both of you. Obviously, we haven't been able to talk to you guys much since the BC football season has ended. How's everything going? Your breaks, I hope.
It's still foreign to me. It's something I'm getting used to. I'm a second-year district employee. The time off is still foreign to me.
My dad is high up in the high school district, and he's been trying to get me to be a teacher for years. And that's the one selling point he gets me with is, you get your winters off and your summers. And I was like, yeah, if you have the money not to do summer school.
Right.
So, but I mean, it's got to be nice a little bit. You get, a week or two off. You don't have to worry about kids well, you got to worry about kids, but you don't got to worry about other people's kids. So that's got to be fun.
No, it's great, and this is about the earliest I've woken up in the last 10 days.
We appreciate that. Sparky has to get up
early. This is
early.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm also the one to sleep at 9 o'clock. So.
This is true. So obviously, we want to talk to you guys about BC football before we get out of here. But we were just getting done talking about the Hall of Fame finalists, and I want to get your guys' thought on this. I presented the question to Sparky. Do you guys think that this is kind of getting a little oversaturated in a way? Because in my opinion, the Hall of Fame should be reserved for the guys who were the best of the best at their positions during their time of playing. Now, I know that would vastly cut a lot of people out of the Hall of Fame. But like some of these names, like I love Frank Gore, but is Frank Gore a Hall of Fame running back?
I would definitely say Frank Gore is a Hall of Famer based on
the longevity,
the longevity, and his quality of work while he was a player. He was pretty unstoppable. One of the elite top 5 running backs when he was player and active.
Fair. That's absolutely fair.
Defensive coordinators had to account for him all the time, and he was just a difference maker. The guy, every time you get him into the game, and again, there's another guy on the list that you had to game plan for is Fred Taylor, and those guys. Especially if you ask guys who've been doing fantasy football for a very long time.
True.
You look back and these guys were two of the better running backs of all time when it comes to that kind of output.
Well, I'd do the same thing with like Marshall Yonda. He was one of the best guards at his time, but
is he a Hall of Fame?
The thing is when it comes down to planning each week for a game, every NFL team, every professional team has a number one running back, a number one receiver that you always got to plan for.
True.
At that point, then we're getting 32 players every year in the Hall of Fame because every year, every week, you're planning on somebody, a playmaker, somebody that could wreck the game. And I just get to the point. My boy Ricky Williams ain't in. So you're going to tell me that Ricky Williams doesn't deserve to get in there over some of these guys? I just don't get it.
Was a problem. And again, like you said, one of the biggest draft day trades ever.
I was leaving New Orleans, heading home,
Walker,
and he said Ricky's going to Miami. I said, "What? What? I'm taking something from Louisiana on my way out."
Sitting on a couple of Hall of Fame boards at the lower level, I understand how hard it is to recognize everybody.
Sure. Exactly.
In every year, no matter who you pick, you got a group of people saying, "Man, who are these guys?"
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think it's
that's
maybe
the
too
toughest
difficult.
thing.
Too difficult, right?
Yeah, it's too difficult to get it right for everybody every year.
So being on those panels, what is the criteria that you guys go down in order to vote these guys in?
And this is something that I recently had to have the conversation with, because every year I get emails like, "Hey man, why this?
Why didn't this guy get in?
Wrestlers?" But ultimately, champion. That's one of the first criteria that usually for you to be inducted is being a champion. How often were you all pro? Were you all pro every year, or all conference or all league every year that you played, and what came with that? And also, what was your character like along the way? And that's one of the things that people have a hard time accepting, is that some of these guys are getting the nod just because they were quality guys on and off the field.
That's fair.
And they deserve to be recognized in that way in some people's eyes.
Well, to that extent, then, because we talked about this too when it came to Ricky, do you think guys like Ricky Williams are being held out due to like the marijuana use and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Do you think that's fair though?
I you know, there's a give and take.
I don't think weed is fair to hold anybody out.
Yeah, but at that time, it was a game changer. You know what I mean? He missed time for it. So I get it. I totally understand that side of it. But then going into like players like we were just talking about Trayvon Diggs getting released by the Cowboys, and the headline says 2-time Pro Bowler. But do you think of Diggs as a game changer, a Pro Bowl cornerback?
1 year.
Exactly.
So
do you think at the end of his career, if say he goes to the Eagles or the Bills and he gets one more Pro Bowl, when he retires and you're looking at his stats, you're looking at a 3-time Pro Bowler. And then, I mean,
and if he happens to get picked up on a team and they win a Super Bowl,
exactly.
he's a Super Bowl champ,
so some of that could be tarnished a little bit, or I mean, maybe just change your look at the player when you're looking at the stats and actually watching the guy play.
I wish it didn't matter.
That's fair.
Sadly, there are people who pay for those trophies and all the sponsorship that are like, I don't want this guy, and there's some of my favorite guys who would probably never get the call because they weren't great guys off the field as far as like players that I love to watch.
Right. No, and that's absolutely fair, but I think that he's got a point there. That's why personally I said it before the break. I see the Pro Bowl as just a popularity contest. Right. It really is. It's not it's kind of like the NBA All-Star game. There's always 3 or 4 guys that get left out just because they're not as popular as some of the players that get put in. And that's why I don't feel like that's a fair thing to really
T.O. had to wait, what was that, 6 years, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
That was ridiculous. Like, that guy's a first ballot
guy.
And it's like him or not, kind of a strange dude, but he was for at least 5 years
the best
biggest
wide receiver.
And probably biggest offensive threat in football. Guy played on a fractured leg in the Super Bowl.
And every team he went to, he was a problem. Like, it didn't matter if he was on the Niners or the Eagles or the Cowboys, he was always a problem. So I agree.
Do you see the same thing with players?
Yeah, exactly.
Like AJ Brown. Should we keep away what the distractions and what's going on? I mean, I could bring in Diggs, the other Diggs. I mean, the other things off the field, or should people that are voting or putting these together should just focus on what they did on the field?
I would love to say yes, but as a person that had to learn how to follow rules the right way in order to sit in seats, you have to understand the balance of being the right kind of guy.
Politicking is a big part.
I mean, and I hate to say it, like it's something that we all have to carry as media professionals as well. We have to be conscious of what we do when we're outside, because if anybody puts us on Kern County activities, we might lose our little opportunity in our small windows of space that we have. So as the windows of space get larger, for the whole world, those are the people that we have to honor when we're moving a certain way. And I say that. And I wasn't a squeaky clean guy as a college guy, right?
Right? Never. The rapper and football player.
I love telling this story because one mistake almost cost me everything, right? And through that mistake, you learn how to be a better person, and it makes you who you are later. The guys that don't get that and continue to make mistakes, and you want to be celebrated at the end, you kind of got to be aware of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's a good point. And I think that there is a big portion of it is politicking, obviously. Right. But I'm like I said, I'm looking at some of these guys, and although I loved watching them play, I loved watching Kevin Williams play, I loved watching Terrell Suggs play, but I can't necessarily say I see either of them with the gold jacket on. Like,
wow.
I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. There's so many guys that have played at the same time that I think were better than them at their own position, and I can't necessarily agree.
With Suggs, I think one of the things that comes with him is he's a winner.
True.
Like, if you can find a way to win, that helps validate your road to that path of Hall of Fame.
Well, in his prime, he was dirty.
He was a problem.
He had to watch that for that guy, man. He was heavy, and I think he deserves a gold jacket personally. I just think when there's other players that have been on this list, that's where I'm like, okay, I don't care about this list anymore.
And this is a great point because my vote will go to a different 55 to get the call before that 55.
That's what I'm saying, though.
But look at the problems that my own frat brother had off the field. That's probably one of the reasons.
But Terrell Suggs wasn't exactly
one of my
all-time
players.
Yeah,
Joey Porter.
You're right.
Like, let's be honest.
And in trouble too.
And in terms of yes, he does. And at this point right now, though, if we're gonna sit there and say he gets in for being a winner, I agree with that, but look who he played with. He played with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. Then he left and went to teams that were championship caliber and championship worthy. It's not like he went and played for, the Arizona Cardinals and helped them get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got it.
So I don't know. That's why I'm saying my criteria may just be a little bit different than others, but it is what it is. Let's shift over to a little bit of something different. College football is obviously at its peak right now in bowl season and college football playoff.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I know we heard from you on what you felt about the whole Notre Dame situation. Now we're already a week into the college football playoff, and obviously we saw Miami pull off an upset that no one considered to even be a possibility. But what do you guys feel about the college football playoff right now? Are you open to the expansion? Because that's what's coming up here in January. They're going to be voting on it, and I'm assuming it's going to at least go to 16, which may be good, maybe bad. I really don't know. What do you guys feel about this?
I got to say, yesterday I was sitting at home and I saw the date of the game come up, and I was like, January 19th, this is crazy. Like how far the season is being extended. And for young players that play throughout the year, that is crazy. It's too much college football for these young guys. I know we want to try to get it right.
No, I said the same thing.
But I think it's just too much, and it's watering down the game.
Yeah, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but who did we have someone call in and say they wanted an NCAA March Madness style college football
I would
playoff,
love it.
Like a 64 team? As a fan, that's a great idea. But as a player, God no, hell no. That's what, 6 more games on top of your season?
Well, I mean, the looking at that kind of framework, if you eliminate some of these preseason games that they're playing and try to start that process and make it, remember back in the days, they used to have 8-game conference schedules instead of these 10-game conference schedules. Shrink down some of this preseason stuff and get that postseason going a little bit early. You could possibly try to have something like that. It's just too much wear and tear on the players when you have that many teams playing, though.
Yeah, with the advent of AI, why do we even have any of these personalities involved in this? Give it to a computer and figure it out.
Okay? Yeah, and let them do it.
What are we going to do? And one of the better ideas I'd ever heard was the fact that you could have relegation. You get some teams that are going to be good, in one particular year. They stay in these Power 4 conferences, and then the ones that don't, the underperformers, I'm sorry, you're going down to FCS stuff, and it's almost like the NIT in college basketball.
It's exactly
so you're going
to
be playing for something on that route. But even then, something's got to happen to where you're not going to have 11 or 12 playmakers that did not play yesterday for USC TCU because they're either in the portal or they're announced for the draft. It waters down the game overall. The bowl games don't really mean anything. And on top of that, why are we sending these guys and blowing a budget, sending them to a place 2,000 miles away where there's maybe 800
people
where none of the kids
watching the game.
They don't care. And it's a vacation, but set up a place to where, just like March Madness, in a sense, you've got maybe 6 host sites that are going to have maybe 3 or 4 bowl games in that city for a week,
right?
And make money off of that, man.
Oh man, it would be bananas.
Yeah, absolutely. And you give it and you rotate it to these cities that do well. I'm sure a place like Nashville would be fantastic. You send it up to Seattle.
Texas,
you're gonna have
Texas, anywhere in Texas would kill. Absolutely.
And, parts of Florida. Send it up. Send it out to Hawaii. If you want to do
Honolulu.
something like that. Yeah. Either way, there's got to be a way to figure it out to where you've got the regular season really does count as kind of like a playoff. You've got these standings, and I mean, shoot. Kenny and I played during a time in which there was just, SYL, and in Yosemite leagues throughout the entire central section, there was no division, so the best 16 teams made it to the playoffs. And again, all credit to every section champion that we had this year in high school football, but there was not 6 champions in a section. Just like, we need to be able to say, okay, let's have it to where we've got these teams that are fighting it out. They're in their own conference, and the best 2 teams out of these conference, or the best 4 teams out of these conference, goes to the playoffs, and this is how it goes.
Honestly, that's what I was thinking, is create a secondary tournament like the NIT, and all of these schools that don't make it, your, USC's, Vanderbilt's, whatever, you can go play in that for something that's a similar prize. It's not the college football playoff per se, but these bowl games don't mean anything anymore. I've said that a couple times. And the ones that do, you took and put into the college football playoff. So what's the point? No one's playing in the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl anymore, because you took that away. The best one possible is the Pop-Tart Bowl. And when the kids win, they're up there blank face, like, oh, great, I get to sit here and watch 2 mascots pretend to be baked so my coach can eat it. And then I can finally go and actually celebrate this win like I want to. None of them actually want to be up there.
You can see the joy removed in the faces of the players with how we're trying to extend the process. We're trying to, it's one of the, you can't just put wig on a pig, right? That's what we're trying to do with college football. We want to dazzle it up and add all of these extra things to make it more exciting, and it's really just diminishing.
It just seems like the marketing side of football in NCAA needs to get a little bit younger, and I think they'll understand it sooner or later. Get these geezers out of here and let's get back to college football. And that's one of the things I wanted to bring up. I know we're running out of time, but one of the things I was reading, which I'm not hearing a lot about in other sports shows, is the players that are getting drafted later than they were expected, and now NCAA is looking into allowing players to come back to college after
with a professional
the draft. So I'm like,
because Baylor, if I'm not mistaken, just did that this year, and everybody was up in arms about it.
First pick a couple of years
something
ago.
Like that.
And
and
Quinn
brought him back in
Ewers
basketball.
Was expected to get higher before his injury.
Well, there was
Shamar Stewart with
exactly
the Bengals.
Shamar Stewart, even Shador. There was thoughts if Shador didn't get drafted high enough that he would go back to Colorado. But
they can make more.
That conversation's happening with college basketball as well, with Lofton going back into basketball. So it's just showing the fact that everything that we're trying to do to bring everybody in, we're really just diminishing the quality of the fabric of the game.
And they got to do something about the portal.
Oh,
if you're bouncing around, you got to wait a season or not. You got to figure something out in the middle ground where you commit to a team. And, what was it? Aikman or somebody that came out and said, I'm not putting any more money into it because
I loved when he said that during the game last week.
You don't want to say who it was, but it was Dante Moore.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I don't blame him though, because when you front the bill for it and you tell this kid, hey, I'll pay you $1 million to come play for my alma mater, and that kid says sure, and then takes that money and pieces out, I'd be mad too.
Right, and it's happening all the way down to the lower levels of junior college football, to where we actually lost a guy that I was hoping to get, because he ended up getting a check from I want to say Kentucky Wesleyan or something. And he's actually a kid that, had he came here, he'd have an opportunity to get back to the Division I level that he just lost, but he's just chasing the check because there's no other check being offered to him at the level he wants to play at. He's going to a lower division.
Are you seeing that more and more now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just it's check chasing, and nobody wants to actually have the desire to work to be a better player. They're just chasing the check.
That's what happens when you bring in this level of money. A level of comfort comes with it too, and then they realize, oh, I don't have to become a pro to get this kind of money. And it's
so on the junior varsity side, is it making it harder, or is it you think you're getting more of these players with passion that want? I mean, we've heard the stories from guys that have gone to BC and then gone up the hill and get into the professional, NFL. Do you think that it's getting harder for scouts over in junior college teams to get players in here without the checkbook?
Yeah, I mean, it's just delaying everything. That's really what's happening. Everything's being delayed, but what's happening, you're finding players like DJ Reed and some of these other guys, Josh Allen's, right? And I'll say those guys because they are premier players that are getting that market level money at their position, and they are junior college guys that trusted the process at the beginning in the NIL journey. They were some of the first players that had to navigate going different places and playing multiple schools based on the fact that they weren't going to get the money.
That's interesting. Again, I was afraid that is where a lot of these athletes would head, especially with bidding wars and stuff like that for certain athletes. But we're more and more, we're never going to, or I shouldn't say never, but we're going to be seeing less and less of these big athletes coming from smaller schools.
Yeah.
Like you said, like a Josh Allen coming from Wyoming. I know we're running out of time real quick, so I will ask this and we will leave you on this one. What was your guys' favorite sports story of 2025?
As far as I'll be biased because of basically what I wore today.
The jacket already says
I'm just saying.
My Dodgers jacket, obviously. I mean, I tell people all the time, and you're hearing it, now that that was the best World Series ever. Even take my bias away, and it really was.
It was up there.
You have people who absolutely were not interested whatsoever. People who didn't want to see the Dodgers win, obviously. And everybody was tuned in. People that don't watch baseball watch an 18-inning game,
right?
And at the same time, then to go Game 7, to have all the theatrics at any point, anybody could have won all that stuff. But my biggest sports story is kind of what I'm wearing right over here: Garza's water polo.
Love that.
Nice.
The girls' water polo got the Central Section
Love
championship hat on. My daughter and her friends.
That's so cool.
Boom.
They were they had amazing run. We're that close to going to Stockton and playing for the state championship, but they just missed out. So shout out to all those ladies.
I'm glad
over there.
To see that.
And
I was part of the class that actually got the water polo team going over at Garza's,
nice.
so I'm very happy to see they're having some success over there.
Yeah, and shout out to my daughter's friend Eden. She just she's the best water polo player probably in California. And
nice.
She committed to Cal Berkeley
a
couple of days
cool
ago. So
nice.
Cal's going to get a good one.
That is a great school to go to.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Kenny?
I mean, I can't take anything away from the Dodger journey that they had this year. I mean, again, we're in here every week. I'm not a traditional baseball guy, but the way that series went, it made everybody fall in love with the game. The controversy.
Baseball definitely won a lot of fans over.
I mean, it was one of those things that carried us through the fall. If you really look back at how things went for a lot of my teams, Raiders stuck it up. Lakers not looking great. Always lean on the Dodger blue. To be my consistent and something to be happy about. But so that was great. Also, I gotta say, seeing basketball be played in the RAC for the first time was pretty special to me. Seeing the Renegade athletic experience with the new facilities throughout the fall. Football didn't go how we wanted it to, but to have that view that we had and looking out over the Dammer deck was always special.
That'll change. The team's going. The team's on the way up.
Absolutely.
And kudos to BCHS and Frontier. Good
100%.
And Kennedy.
Good stories.
And Kennedy.
Well. I'm
from
sorry.
State.
Kennedy.
Yeah, Kennedy. I had a chance to cover Kennedy over the high school season. They did awesome. Congratulations.
Fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming in and joining us on this New Year's Eve. We will see you in the new year.
Love you guys, man.
We're taking a break. We'll be back with our guy, Bolt Brady, right after this. Welcome back. Early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1. 12:30 a.m. And yes, we know it's New Year's tomorrow, and there's plenty of football to talk about, and hopefully plenty of opportunities to help you guys make some money. And the best person for us to call to help you guys do that was our guy Bolt Brady from Bolt Brady and his bro at the Believe Network, of course. Bolt, how are you, sir? Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year's, guys. I'm super jacked up for all these games we have coming up.
I would feel the same if my Trojans didn't fumble away a bowl win last night. But, I mean, hey, it is what it is. We didn't have our top receivers, so we just, take what we can get, I guess.
I know. It's time for them to start winning some important games. It seems like it's been a while.
I'm telling you, I think it may start with us getting rid of them shackles called Lincoln Riley. I don't think that he is the answer. I really don't. I love how great the offense looks every year. Don't get me wrong. But when the defense looks that bad every single season, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore, Bolt. I can't. I just can't. It's not USC football. It's not. But let's talk about some more college football. I know we got Vandy and Iowa coming up today. What other games are you looking at?
Yeah, today the game that stands out the most to me is Miami plus the 9.5 against Ohio State. The over-under is only 48 points. And this isn't Carson Beck's first rodeo. Miami's actually 5-0 straight up and against the spread against top 25 teams this year. Yeah, so I like Miami there.
Is there a chance they could pull off the upset altogether?
I mean, I wouldn't throw it out the door. No, even though Ohio State is by far and away, judging by the Las Vegas odds, they're supposed to be the winner. They're only 1.5 to 1 to win it, versus like let's say Ole Miss is 20 to 1 to win the championship. Yeah.
I didn't realize Ole Miss was that far off. But no, I mean, obviously Ohio State is the best team in the college football playoff. But I mean, we saw Miami hold Texas A&M to 3 points last time. So I guess anything is possible.
For sure. And like I said, Carson Beck, I mean, he's been around the block.
Oh, yeah.
So.
In his time with Georgia, I'm sure he would love to get a lick at Ohio State one more time. So what else you got for us?
And then tomorrow, I like Indiana minus the 7.5 versus Bama. Bama hasn't been getting this many points since 2008, but we all know that this isn't the same Bama.
No.
And then I like Texas Tech plus 2.5 versus Oregon. I've kind of mentioned it earlier before, but this defense is just incredible. I mean, their last game out, they beat BYU 34-7. If you look at the scores of their games, nothing's been close. And I actually like them 7-1 odds to win the national championship.
Really?
I took that.
Okay,
yeah.
So we have shifted from one Texas team to the other then.
Well, yeah. And these guys, like, just take a look at their scores of their games this season, and you'll be amazed. Nothing was close, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss plus the 6.5 versus Georgia because I think we'd be talking about Ole Miss more if Lane Kiffin was still there.
True.
And everyone is still there but Lane. So, I think they're not getting enough respect.
No, that's absolutely fair. But what are your thoughts on that? Because, I mean, the reasoning for not letting Lane go back and finish coaching at Ole Miss was he was afraid that they were going to poach players. But you're going to allow all of his assistants who left with him to go and essentially do exactly that? Like that, I don't get it. I really don't understand.
Yeah, it's a bad breakup, right? It's like your girlfriend saying, "Hey, you can date my friends, but you and I are done."
Yeah, I don't know.
Score.
What do we got in the world of the NFL, my friend?
Okay, we got 2 games in the NFL. This is a tricky week, obviously, because so many games don't really mean anything. So I like to focus on the games that do mean something. Niners plus 1.5 versus Seattle. They're at home. Brock is 19-8 straight up at home in his career. I just don't trust Darnold on the road. We know what happened last year when they played Detroit late in the season. Mm-hmm. He just kind of buckles. So I like the Niners. And then lastly, Sunday night football. I think this is the reason why they brought Aaron Rodgers in, was to win games like this. Pittsburgh's getting 3.5 points at home. Tomlin versus Harbaugh. They've got a long history against each other. He's 14-4 against the spread against Harbaugh in these situations. So I really like Pittsburgh plus the 3.5. And
wow. Every time I talk to you, it makes me feel bad about one of my picks from earlier because I picked Pittsburgh to lose this game. But now hearing that, I'm thinking, gosh, dang it. The world of sports is all leaning towards the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And Metcalf is out, right?
Yes.
He's suspended for that game. Man, it's going to be tough. And there's still no say if Lamar's playing. I think the Ravens lose and Harbaugh's gone.
Well, yeah, it's tough. The line is saying that Lamar's playing, right? Because there's no way if Lamar wasn't playing that they'd be giving points to Pittsburgh. So that's what's interesting about that. So that's why I actually put the play in now because if Lamar doesn't play, this line's going to change for sure.
True. No, that's absolutely fair because if Lamar does not play, there's no way Baltimore wins that game, in my opinion. Any other picks for us, my friend?
That's it, my friend.
Awesome. And then one more question for you before we let you go, since it is New Year's. I am asking all of our guests this, but what was your favorite sports story of 2025?
Wow, my favorite sports story. Gosh, you're catching me off guard.
I apologize, my friend. I apologize.
That's the best. Those are the best answers.
Oh man, I don't know. I guess kind of, you guys are going to be like, what? But I guess kind of watching Aaron battle here with the Steelers, I just think so many people have knocked him down, and I just always thought that he was a baller, and I think he's going to go out and prove it on Sunday night.
That's a good story because you're absolutely right. I've said it for a long time, but the media finds things with Aaron to talk about and really bash him for things that he really isn't trying to be snooty or condescending, but for some reason, just because it comes out of his mouth, it sounds that way.
I think that's
maybe
just
it's
him.
The California in him. I don't know, dude.
Because
I'm watching that documentary of him and his family and like how the shift went and how his family acts towards him. I kind of get it. I would be on Aaron's side. So I don't know. Maybe that made me feel a little bit more humanized towards the guy, but I agree with you. I think that's a great one to go on. So, sir, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it and have a good New Year.
All right. Happy New Year, fellas.
We'll talk to you next week. Do we want to take a break now or
let's get over with?
All right, let's take a break real quick. On the other side, we will get to some of these sports stories before we get to our guy Holt on the other side with the Bakersfield Condors. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. We are also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can come join us at any point in time during the show, 7 to 9. Or if you missed it, don't worry. You can go back on our YouTube channel and watch every single episode right there. Just feel free to subscribe, like, all that type of good stuff. Hit the bell, and you'll know every time we go live. I was going to try to go to the Raider game this weekend and maybe see Travis Kelce's final game, but I don't think it's actually going to be his final game.
I think it's over.
I know. And honestly, looking at his mentals right now, I think you're right. But something tells me that he's going to have one of those talks with somebody, in the off season that's going to rally him and tell him, you know what? No, dude, you can't end like that.
I think he's going to get married later next year. I think he's done.
I'm hoping that I'm correct and you're wrong, so I get to see him play at least one time before.
You should try to hit that game.
Honestly, I was going to, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it work just financially for myself. So
it's tough.
That's the issue right now. So I just don't think that I'm going to be able to make it work. But traditionally, when we do go to the Raider games, if you follow us on our social media platforms, you'll see some exclusive content, like myself covering Marcus Allen's Hall of Fame induction and Sparky getting to go inside the Cowboys locker room. Thank you. Sorry. And talk to guys like George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and whatnot. So feel free to follow us on all social media platforms and you'll be up to date on all things, at least Raider football, as we try to expand into all of the NFL. I know we got some text messages, right?
Yeah, going back to the Hall of Fame discussion that we've been really talking all show.
Oh, Lord.
The first one says Marshall Yanda was consistently the best guard in the NFL for 10 plus years.
True.
Absolutely amongst the best of all time, which I totally agree.
Yeah,
and
that honestly, at least for my criteria, 100% would make him a Hall of Famer. So you're 100% right. So
he says, I absolutely agree with you guys. Take on the Hall of Fame. I believe if you haven't made it to the Hall of Fame after an X amount of years, you're no longer eligible.
That actually, I think, is a thing. It's a longer period of time with football than it is with other sports. I know that is a thing in baseball. After a certain amount of years in baseball, if you do not get voted in, they immediately remove your name because you're never going to get voted in.
And this one says, what are you guys' thoughts on why Jim Plunkett has not gotten into the Hall of Fame over other quarterbacks that have never went to any Super Bowls at all?
It's criminal. But again, this is why I stand there and say it has to do with who or where he was as the top quarterback of his time. It goes along the same lines as Eli Manning with me. Eli has won 2 Super Bowls. Theoretically, that should get you in right there, the Hall of Fame, because you won multiple Super Bowls. Same with Jim Plunkett, won a Super Bowl. Should potentially get you on the ballot, at least, if not in the Hall of Fame, I guess, in a way. But if we're going to sit there and say all Super Bowl quarterbacks are automatically Hall of Famers,
then you're running out of spots.
Exactly. So I see the argument for Jim Plunkett being in the Hall of Fame. I see the argument against Jim Plunkett being in the Hall of Fame. Personally, I think he does deserve to go in there, even though that does contradict what I've been saying when it comes to you need to be the best of the best of the best. But I do think Jim Plunkett, if we're going to talk about historical relevance, still to this day, outside of Derek, probably one of the best Raider quarterbacks they've ever had. So, I mean, grandfather some people in that way, but
he should be in.
So
he should definitely be in.
He should definitely be in. But outside of that, I guess you could see the argument that I'm trying to make for both sides here. But personally, I think that you're right and he should be in there. But if I'm saying he should be in there, then Eli should probably be in there too.
Yep. And Eli should totally be in there. But the last one says, what do you guys think about the Ohio State negative 9.5 or the over 40.5?
We just heard Bolt Brady's take on this. 9.5 is a lot to give a team. It really is. But this is Ohio State. I know. And I'm with you at this point, Sparky. If it ain't a Hoosier or a Dog, I don't want to see it. But Ryan Day, Ohio State, they have the best in terms of talent roster in this entire playoff, I would be very shocked if they don't blow Ohio or Ole Miss out of the water. So personally, I would take the 9.5 with Ohio State. I would give the 9.5 to Ole Miss and still take Ohio State, I would say. Now, the over-under of 40, that's tricky in college ball because as we've seen in the first round of the playoff, sometimes you get the games where the teams just don't score at all. And for some reason, this game kind of feels like one of those to me. So I would probably go with the under, but that's just my personal opinion as somebody who is not a huge sports gambler outside of listening to my guy, Brady. So don't get mad at me or shoot the messenger if you lose one of those bets. That's just all I got to say. It's a weird world that I still have yet to be able to figure out my dang self. Sparky, any thoughts?
No. I don't bet with Ohio State. I don't play with them. I don't root them on. I don't lose money with them either. So I just stay away from anything Ohio State. And one of the saddest things, I went out to the Hard Rock just to kind of check out the vibe and check out what was going on. And there's no sports book. I'm like, man.
Well, there was going to be one until California voted to keep it illegal still.
Yeah, that is the stupidest thing.
Oh, trust me, I don't have nearly enough time left in this show to explain why I agree with you. But at this point, it's just life in California. I don't think we're ever going to get sports betting here, especially with the way that it's being effective affecting the game itself, I should say. It's going to be really hard for anybody to sit there and justify making it legal in California.
I could pick a few things, maybe the state debt.
True.
Plenty of other reasons, but I think once our governor runs for president, I think some things will probably change, and I'm hoping. I mean, it was just a few years ago that we could bet on sports, so I just don't get it. The world is taking over with sports betting. I think the sport in general is the one that's got to work on the sports gambling. But I think the state of California, if there's states like Utah and states like that that can bet on anything, I just don't understand why we're the ones that are behind the whole deal.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, and feel free to chime in on YouTube or wherever you guys want to, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Utah has a considerable amount of casinos.
Yeah.
Like they are known for that. So it doesn't surprise me at all that they allow sports gambling. I don't know. California just seems to be too liberal for it. And the argument that I always hear is, well, we're protecting the children. I call shenanigans. I think you're protecting your own wallet is what you're doing. I don't think you're protecting
the kids.
Children.
Get them off social media.
Yeah, I don't think you give a dang about protecting the kids. I think you use that as an excuse so you don't have to worry about sports gambling being a thing. But let's shift off of politics, shall we? Because it is New Year's and it's supposed to be a happy time. Well, we're going to talk about something a little unhappy, but it's in the world of basketball, so it makes me and Sparky happy. The Lakers are back in the news, but for really, really bad reasons, in my opinion. JJ Redick and Luka Doncic have come out and criticized referees, saying that they allowed the Detroit Pistons to foul, which caused the Lakers to lose their latest game against the Detroit Pistons. I know that sports is all about criticizing referees and all of that. I totally get it. But let's not get crazy. I think more what it is they were probably more fed up with Luka complaining about every call, whatever you want to call it, and said, you know what? We're just going to let him play. We're just going to let him play, and then everything is going to get called when it needs to at the end of the game. They ended up losing 128-106 to the Detroit Pistons, who have been playing great basketball lately. And right after the game, JJ went to the media and said, I'm reading from a quote here from ESPN saying, I think there's probably a level of frustration when you're turning the ball over and you're feeling like you're getting fouled. There's frustration there for sure. But I mean, I guess, again, I said it even here. We said it this morning. They're going to foul every possession. It's just, you got to play through it. So basically, they were prepping for this with the Detroit Pistons, and they believe that the referees are allowing the Detroit Pistons to foul whatever they want just so they can win basketball games that way. I think I remember the league saying something similar when the Detroit Pistons, or at least the bad boy Pistons, were at the top of the league as well. Some teams just can't take tough defense, in my personal opinion, and the Lakers are definitely one of them.
Which is super sad. I miss the tough, gritty defense. I mean, that was one of my favorite things when I played basketball was the tough defense and hand checks and they took a lot of that away in the NBA probably a decade plus, but I like it personally.
And JJ continued by saying they're going to foul on every possession, probably 3 or 4 times. And then, saying, oh, it's not a knock. I'm just saying, no, that's a knock,
what
JJ.
Is it?
That is a absolute knock. And I love
Put your
JJ.
big boy pants on and coach a damn team.
No kidding. But I echo what our guy Snack said on Monday. I love JJ Redick. I personally don't get the hate for JJ. I get everybody sits there and says, oh, he only got the job because he's LeBron's friend. He's still one of the most knowledgeable people about basketball on the planet, and honestly hasn't been doing a terrible job as a head coach. He's actually taken to the job pretty well and could be the next Jason Kidd if he keeps going this route.
I was going to say we hear that almost every time. When Steve Kerr first took the job, they were like, oh, it's just his friends. And
he has friends in the league, so obviously he's going to get it's like.
And how's that turned out?
And you know what's crazy? We've seen more of an influx of former players becoming coaches than ever, and all of them, or I shouldn't say all of them, a vast majority of them have been successful. Especially the ones like Sparky's highlighting are the ones that get the most hate because they have friends in the league. Yeah, we're in the 20th century, bud. It's not what you do, it's who you know. It's not how good you are anymore. It's who you know in the business. I am sorry to have to break that to whoever doesn't get that yet, but that's the world we live in. That's why I actually think JJ has been doing pretty well, all things considered. I really do. Now, granted, he's benefited from having 2 of the best basketball players of the last couple generations on his team.
You know how difficult it would be to coach those guys, though?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people that really know how to effectively coach them and keep everybody in line correctly. Now, granted, he's losing LeBron because LeBron would rather talk to other people's benches than actually go and be in his own huddle. But hey,
yeah, that's just LeBron.
JJ's doing what he can here. Now, this, though, coming out and essentially bashing the Pistons, saying they foul 3 or 4 times on every possession and it never gets called. Come on, bud. Let's stop being salty. I know that the Lakers are super frustrated right now. I get it. You guys are being beat up on every single night. And to be honest, you haven't been playing the best basketball that you can. I get that can be frustrating. But let's not sit there and say that the referees are favoring the Detroit Pistons and allowing them to foul 3 or 4 times a game to keep them in basketball games and basically boot you out of wins. That's kind of ridiculous. And again, we all know how Luka feels about refereeing and calls and all of that. We see it every single night on the court. So I don't even need to echo what that man said or read to you what the quote that ESPN has here. We all know Luka is one of those guys that criticizes when calls don't get called. And if I'm being honest, Luka does get beat up on a lot. He really does.
That's the style of basketball he plays.
Right. And you can't play that style and then complain about it afterwards.
You've been around LeBron a little bit too much.
And at this point, we all know you're not a great defensive player. So you're not just going to turn around and say, you know what, fine, I'm just going to get my lick back on defense. So the one outlet he has is officiating. And to be honest, it's not a good look. It reminds me a lot of Peyton Manning. And although there was greatness with Peyton, we all know that. But I also saw Peyton complain in the Super Bowl where he was up by 2 scores against the Bears and say, that should have been a flag. Man, you're up by 2 or 3 scores with 2 minutes left in the game. Why are you complaining? Why? Like, let it go.
I get that from Aaron Rodgers a lot.
No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. But it's one of those things. Like I said, when we first started talking about this story, I get that hating on referees and saying they don't call to certain things and are favoring certain players. I get that happens all the time in sports. But when you are the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers and the star of the Los Angeles Lakers, you guys can't be doing it. Sorry. Like, we expect this from teams like, I don't know, Spark, who would you say? Milwaukee? Miami? Exactly. But
I've always heard just hit a couple buckets, they'll get off you.
Yeah. When you have LeBron and Luka on your team, I mean, outside of SGA, I don't think there are 2 people on the planet that have gotten more love from officiating in their entire careers. than Luka Doncic and LeBron James. And on top of that, when you're complaining so much on the court about no calls, you also have to remember that these guys are human. And much like Puka Nacua learned over the weekend, on Monday, I forget that was on Monday, when you complain about officiating, the calls magically don't go your way anymore. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, I learned that when I was in high school. Don't complain to the official. Complain to your coach.
Step up your game.
Yeah. Take them out of the game. And that's my thing. And for him to sit there and say, though, that, that's not a knock on the Detroit Pistons. They fouled 3 or 4 times a possession.
Nice try to clean that up.
That's JJ saying they can't play defense great or, the right way. So they have to foul you. And, the referees just kind of let it happen because it's Detroit. Why is it every time Detroit's good and Detroit has good defensive ball? Because that's what JB Bickerstaff preaches every single day is defensive basketball. So every time Detroit is good defensively and is on top of the East, they're magically just foulers. It's the bad boy Pistons all over again.
And how did they get beat?
I swear.
You get a little more I don't know, you score on them first, but you get a little dirty. You play their game, you beat them in their own game. Mm-hmm. That's the only way you're going to beat them.
And Mike knew that. That's why Mike went and said, "Hey, Dennis,
yeah, we need Rodman.
You want to come play?
We need Cartwright. We need some big boys." And that's exactly what they did. And I'll take a break first. I want to bring up a couple shows that I just recently found, and we got a caller. So we'll be right back. This is the Early Bird Special.
Oh, it's official. Even the Athletic is attacking my take, Sparky. First thing I open when I see my phone. Get Eli his gold jacket.
Is he not in already?
Eli Manning? No.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, you should.
Again. If we're going to sit here and say Jim Plunkett should get in, Eli should get in.
Ricky Williams should be in
Ricky
already.
should definitely already be in. But we don't have nearly enough time to go down the list of names that should be in the Hall of Fame, in our opinion, and shouldn't be.
And one person that should be in the Hall of Fame is our own very own Ryan Holt.
Is he not in the Bakersfield Condors Hall of Fame yet?
He is. He should be.
Holty. How are we not in the Hall of Fame? What's going on?
I haven't retired yet. I think there's
that's
very generous.
Is there a 5-year waiting period after you retire too if you're in the front office?
There's a strict voting policy, I think.
Dang it. Good to hear you, sir. Happy New Year, first and foremost.
Happy New Year, guys.
Let's get to the game that happened on Saturday real quick. Unfortunately, we fall to the goals, but our very own Sparky got to do the horn, and we had the guys from Shoresy there. I mean, it must have been a fun night overall.
It was.
Listen, we like to say that we can't control, well, we being the front office and those upstairs, we can't control anything that happens on the ice.
True.
We can only control what happens off the ice. And, great crowd, almost 6,000 people, and fun atmosphere, fun night. And unfortunately, the San Diego played a really good game. And our former coach, Jay Woodcroft, used to like to say that the other team's allowed to be good too. And they were good. They played probably their best game of the weekend. And, we were just off. I think nothing was crisp. You can blame maybe a couple of days off of the break, but then again, San Diego had the same break too. So
fair.
The good part about this Condors team is we haven't lost twice in regulation back to back. So usually a good bounce back, and hopefully get a good bounce back tonight against Coachella.
Oh, we have some great games coming up, obviously. Coachella, and then you have the Barracuda, obviously, after that, when the new year begins, and it's Wizard Night, which is everybody's favorite night of the year.
It's up there.
It's up there.
With 80s
I'm telling you right now. And, an 80s night is the night before, so it's a great back-to-back thing to go check out your dang self. And I also hear we're going to have a lacrosse demonstration at one of these, too.
We might. You might be breaking news to me.
I was going to say, what the hell is lacrosse?
There's usually some entertaining intermission activities coming up here over the course of the next couple of games. And we have great group department, and they make sure they get all the youth kids out, all different sports, all different recognitions. We try and highlight all sports, not just hockey, obviously. And we'll have football recognitions coming up for the state title teams and those that kind of advanced, deep into the playoffs there. So, it's a busy January. We got 14 games coming up. So it's going to be busy January.
This is how you know you're listening to a good radio show, when I break news to the man who should be breaking the news to me. But that is fantastic to hear. Can't wait for both those. I'm going to try to make it out for Saturday's game at least, because it has just been a rocking season and I haven't been able to see it just yet. And I hear that we got our guy back. Mr. Hudson is back on the team, correct?
Yes, Quinn Hudson scored Saturday night against San Diego, had an assist too. So kind of picked up right where he left off. And then Connor Clattenburg's back as well. He'll play again tonight for the team. And he came back. What day is it now these days? He came back yesterday. Was able to practice with the team before we got on the bus down here to Palm Springs. So he's back from the NHL. He played a couple of games up there and scored his first NHL goal. Got his first NHL fight. And we need a guy like Connor Clattenburg, I think, in the lineup, just a little bit of a spark plug for this group who, has a lot of offense, but on a night like Saturday night could use a little bit of a spark plug. And that's, something that this team's been, maybe missing here in the lineup, and good to get him back in.
Well, we've been asking all of our listeners, since it is the end of the year, what is your favorite, sports event or sports thing that happened over the year?
Oh, that's a good one. I'll go personal. With this one.
Gotcha.
We were able to go down to San Diego. My son's now 5 and an avid Red Sox and obviously hockey fan as well too. We were able to go down to San Diego and see the Sox play the Padres this summer. His first MLB baseball game.
Love
and I remember growing up in Boston and going to Fenway as a kid. My dad took me out of school and going to opening day and stuff like that. So we were able to go down to San Diego and see the Red Sox play. And
was the mini park open at Petco?
The mini park
game?
Was open. Yeah, it was really cool.
So cool.
Great for kids. Way better than the Fenway experience from a kid's perspective, right? Like, I mean, you had the mini park in the back. I mean, he could have just hung out back there. He had he was able to take that in practice back there on the Jumbotron kind of deal. It's really cool. And obviously it's great for adults too there. But he had a blast, and it was probably my favorite memory. Roman Anthony had a 2-run double in the 9th to tie it. Sox ended up losing, but really, really cool atmosphere.
That's awesome. I love Petco.
That is awesome. I mean, making those memories. Plus, one of my favorite things.
I haven't seen obviously every MLB stadium, but just in terms of amenities, view, cost, it all kind of checks boxes. I think for me, Pittsburgh's really cool too. Haven't been inside Wrigley. Would like to get inside Wrigley. I've been around Wrigleyville itself.
See, that's what I was going to ask you. One of those things is, I've always wanted to hit all the parks. So when I go to a new park, I always like to check it out. I've been to San Diego. I haven't been in the stadium, but I've gotten to walk around the area and the sports bar and watch a game out there. But I was going to ask you, I mean, growing up in Boston, being able to go to Fenway, I mean, how was that, and how is that different than other parks we might been able to see out here in California?
Yeah, it's definitely an experience. Don't expect to be comfortable. The seats weren't made for those of us in 2026 now. Right. They were made for, I think, 1920s individuals. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy what they've done, with Fenway, based off, just the geography of it and just the size of it and how much they've been able to put into it and to kind of modernize it a little bit, but obviously keep its historic charm. We go back every summer and we're able to catch a game there and kind of, with my brother and sister and our husbands and wives. And, we try and sit in a different area every time. So we sat on like the patio right field deck this time. And that felt like a whole new experience at Fenway than, sitting in the regular seats. So, it's different. It's definitely, a bucket list item for many. And, it's cool. I haven't done the Monster yet. That might be next year, but really cool stuff.
Oh, if you sit on the Monster, you're going to have to send us pictures, because I've always wondered what a game would be like watching from atop the Monster.
Well, what's so funny now about baseball is you go to the game and, you can barely get through a beer and a half or 2 beers because it's over in an hour and a half now.
Right.
So, I mean, it's great for the game, but
you don't get to sit and enjoy it as much. Yeah. No, I've said the same thing. It's like going to Dodger Stadium is not nearly as much fun anymore because you're not there all day.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we went as a staff down to the Dodgers game last year, and I think they were done in an hour and a half.
I think the teams
are a longer drive down than it was for the game.
I think teams are just happy they don't have to pay their staff more than 8 hours a day. They could just send them home and say, "See, you don't have to get paid overtime anymore to work in a baseball game.
Now we can play. Now we can pay Ohtani."
Exactly. All that money is going to Ohtani, I swear. And then, real quick, one last self-indulgent question before we let you go and let you get your New Year started, my friend. But are we any closer to getting into the Shoresy Classic?
I think after Morasky came, I think we got to be on the list.
Yes.
I think, he was great and great to see John at the game, and the guys got a kick out of him. And those of us that are of a certain age, we saw John play, right? We know kind of the lore. We had Quinn Hudson was looking up his stats, at breakfast, had no idea who John Morasky was, and he looked at me and said, "He's not really a scorer, is he?" I said, "No, he didn't do a lot of that."
No, he was a goon.
But yeah, I think we got to be on the. We definitely got to be on the tour stop here pretty soon.
I'm telling you, it would be great, Jared Kiso. If you're ever listening, you need to make a trip down here to Bakersfield and see how close it reminds you of Canada, because I think he'd be very, very impressed. Sir,
he would be.
Thank you so much for your time, my friend. Happy New Year, and we will talk to you next week.
Happy New Year. We'll see you Friday, Saturday.
Thanks, brother. We don't need to take a break because we already took our final.
We've only got maybe 8 or 9 minutes. We had one more a message saying, Plunkett deserves it. He got in multiple times, and I still don't understand why he isn't in yet, which I totally understand.
There are a couple people in the Raiders organization that really should be in the Hall of Fame, but I think Kenny kind of touched on it a little bit, and I think that the politicking and the overall just
what you do off the field.
Yeah, but I guess just playing for the Raiders in general kind of has a negative connotation to it, even though it shouldn't. And honestly, it hasn't since it's moved to Vegas. But when you think of an old school Raiders, you always think rough, tough, ugly football, not necessarily, the clean businessman type stuff. So I think that does factor into it a little bit as well, even though you wish it didn't. But Jim Plunkett was right at the center of all that. Flores, right at the center of all that. That's another man that should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't. And to be honest with you, that I think is just the long and short of it. I think there's just some people that vote on this stuff that just sit there and say they weren't a fan of that era of the Raiders and what they brought to football. So that's probably going to be more your answer. But I agree. Again, Jim Plunkett had been there. He's been at the center of all of it for a long, long time. And he's definitely one of those names on a long list of men that probably should have been in or highly considered of being in the Hall of Fame. But I have to echo what I said at the beginning of the show. I feel like we're putting too many people in that shouldn't be. And although this is great fodder for shows like ours to sit here and talk for 3 hours about what, who should and should not be in the Hall of Fame.
Coulda, shoulda.
But at the end of the day, I think we just need to create a centralized criteria that if you do not break this, if you do not, break some of these or all of these, you can't get in. Not that you won't, you can't.
Yeah, and the Pro Bowl has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and the Pro Bowl has nothing to do with it. Exactly. I mean, again, because glorified just popularity contest.
I mean, what's next? Are they going to allow people to vote for it? I mean, that's the only thing that could change anything unless they get younger with who is voting.
Well, there have been some sports organizations that have opened the door to that kind of a thing and had a fan
like 2
voted
slots.
in. Yeah, exactly. And why not? I mean, I think football could do that. I think, honestly, if the NFL opened up to the fan base, especially during the playoff stretches, and said, hey, by the way, if you go to NFL.com/Hall of Fame, you can vote for who you want in the Hall of Fame, and the top 2 vote getters get in if they aren't already selected by the committee. I could definitely see that, but again, you're going to get a slew of fans that are going to either complain saying that, oh, my guy's never going to get in, so I'm never going to vote for it. Or, just, oh, my guy's already going to get in, so what's the point in me voting at all? That kind of a thing. Because at the same time, because who's going to stop the guy who's a Saints fan to walk up and say, I want Drew Brees and Jahari Evans. Those are the only 2 I want in. And they already get put in. And by the way, if Marshall Yanda doesn't get in, Evans don't get in. Because Jahari Evans definitely was not the best guard at his position at all. I'm sorry, he wasn't. The longevity be damned, in my opinion. But it is what it is. So
we'll be off tomorrow. And I believe Burdick and KG will be running the show Friday. And I did confirm Chris Flair will be joining you guys.
Fantastic.
At 8 o'clock.
I know our friend Chris Orr will also be joining us. That's why I know there's going to be a lacrosse thing, because he's going to be doing a lacrosse demonstration at the Condors game and wants to come on and talk to you guys about it and about Bakersfield lacrosse as he did last time. Pump it up one last time before their season begins. And I believe I have one more guest lined up for the 8:30. I'm just kind of
What is Burdick doing on New Year's Eve?
That is a good question. I have no idea. I had plans at one point, but they fell through. So now I'm just kind of waiting for something to fall in my lap. More than likely. I think that's more tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be filled with a lot of Stranger Things, a lot of college football. There's going to be a lot of college football playoff watching in my house. Very, very, very excited for these 4 games. And again, I'm just sitting here hoping and praying for a Hoosiers national championship. Second best would be the Dogs. Go Dogs.
I'm going Dogs. I personally am going to do the Stranger Things deal today, but it'll be a lot of work Friday, and hopefully we'll get some good news on Monday. But one thing I wanted to bounce off in the entertainment side of it, I mean, I've been collecting since I was probably about 5-6 years old. I still have toys that I never opened. I have Happy Meal toys that are still in the packages that I had when I was 6 or 7 years old. Just it got out of control. And not only have to give a big shout out to a Great American Sports Cards. It's a local card shop right off of Harris behind the Walmart. I got to meet those guys earlier this week and got to bust open some packs and talk football with them.
Nice.
But one thing, I've been a big fan of this Golden Touch show on Netflix, where him and his team pretty much are the biggest collectibles. They started with sports cards. They got into Pokemon.
As I say, is this
they
the
finally
Logan
got
Paul
the
one?
Logan Paul card.
Yeah.
They got him off of him to help him pay for his wedding. But not
Like
only
he needed help to pay
like,
for
right.
the wedding.
But they opened up some big things in the new season that just opened up in the last week or so. But at the end, they got into, or they bought out one of the big Hollywood prop businesses.
Mhm.
And not only that, but they've teamed up with eBay now. So now they're just taking over the collectible world. And if you've ever played or got into a auction when it comes to memorabilia, it is rough and it is tough, and they kind of break it down on how crazy things can be. You know, if you saw something you really wanted for your collection and you're going to get it for say $100 and you're leading for the whole week, but that last hour everybody just starts sniping and it goes up. And there was one that he was selling for 44 grand and he'd promised the family 100 grand. And I believe it was a Pokemon card.
Oh, was it the Cheeto Charizard?
No,
thing?
that one went went insane.
Stupid amounts of
money. It was
money.
like 87 grand
The
for a
amount
Cheeto.
of stuff that people, or the amount of money people would pay for random stuff is stupid. Like
Yeah.
it just really is.
And I'm starting to think, okay, was this a setup?
Probably.
Somebody at Cheetos is like, hey, I could make one like looks just like that, but almost 100 grand for a Cheeto. But yeah, this card, it was I want to say it was rated 10, so
Yeah,
it was a 1 of
naturally.
1, but it was at 40 something thousand in the last hour, and it ended up getting close to 150 grand. And I'm like, damn, I should have got into the Pokemon cards.
That's exactly. Well, you know, it's funny. I was just about to bring this up because I say the same thing to my roommate all the time. It's like, dude, we should have gotten to the Pokemon card craze. We should have kept our cards. We should have listened to whoever told us, oh, those are going to be worth a lot of money one day. But no, our parents never listened to them, and they threw our cards away at some point or gave them away to our cousins, and we never saw them again. But the funny part of it all is for the people who are scalping and doing all of this now, Pokemon cards are actually going down tremendously.
And that brings up another one. Steve Aoki, the DJ.
Yes.
He's a big comic book collector.
Yes.
And they got a case, and I can't tell you offhand. I've never collected. I mean, I got comics, but I don't collect the cards.
Right. Yeah.
The card side of it. But there's a set, and they're all green. And they were up to, I want to say, anywhere from $5 to $6 million a couple years ago when it was hot. And he got the case, he got the whole set, and he immediately goes and talks to Steve. And he's like, hey, dude, I got this right now. We're looking for around $8 million. He said, dude, that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have bought it off your hand right now with cash money. And he said, dude, it's probably worth $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And it's just like anything. You strike it when it's hot, and you either sit on it, what I do, I sit on it, but kind of the same thing we brought up, like when Hulk Hogan passed away or something passed away. The sad part is the value goes up right when they die.
Yep.
And if you sit on it any longer, it's going down.
Well, and when it comes to Pokemon cards too, there's just such an influx of scalpers and people who aren't even collecting these anymore that they don't hold value to people. You aren't getting those guys that are going and buying cards for $400, $500 all the time. The ones that are the ones that are ridiculously wealthy that are already able to pay for a lot of this stuff.
But the final episodes got Giannis and his 3 brothers.
I saw that.
Which was awesome. I didn't know. I knew about one of the brothers, but I didn't know all 4 of them play basketball.
Yep.
And they signed a backboard from when they won the championship. It was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think there's actually a Disney movie that's based on their family. It doesn't tell you directly it's Giannis Antetokounmpo when you're looking at the movie initially, but if you watch the movie and you realize, oh my God, this is the Antetokounmpo family. This is Giannis and Thanasis. And
it's a great family, man.
It is. They're all such just humble people.
Yes.
I would sit down and have a beer with literally every single one of them. I really would. Mama did a damn good job with that.
You guys be safe. And the last thing I'm going to tell you, no drinking and driving.
Don't do it. It's not safe. It's not fair. And honestly, it's never good for anybody. Just get a dang Uber. It's $10. We are out of here for the day. Here comes the legendary Rich Eisen. Join us back here on Friday. This is the Early Bird Special. Sparky, let's get out of here.